What's going on, everybody? Mike Tipton hanging out with you here on a Friday morning. It took a lot to get out of bed today. I'm not gonna lie. It was a tough one getting out of bed today. But you know what? I do it not for y'all. I do it for myself. It is the tipping point with Mike Tipton. We are brought to you by our friends over at RevAutoCarCare.com. RevAutoCarCare.com. Use promo code Tipton33. Save up to 15% on all of your car care needs. And of course, by my friends over at www.myhappynuts.com. That's myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton. Check out what they've got. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to the website right now. I probably should have had this up. Hey, yo. I probably should have had this up before, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it right now. That way we can, in real time, we can see what they have going on for My Happy Nuts offers today. Ooh, you can get an additional 20% off whenever you deck your balls. Why didn't I use that one? Jesus, that's a great one that I could have used. The deck your balls. Good morning, Tip. Good morning to you, Tommy Cananza. How you doing today, buddy? I have to start today's show wrong. I was loud and wrong yesterday. I said there was no way in hell Notre Dame was going to beat Georgia, and Notre Dame goes ahead and beat Georgia. I think that one, I'll take that one on the, that's a punch to the gut because I was actually a part of me always believes that, right? Like a part of me always believes that Notre Dame is going to be overrated. Now I'm beginning to feel that the entire SEC this year was overrated. So maybe it's on me. Maybe it's that time where, like I say, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And Georgia is one of the men. The SEC is like the conference that everyone cares about. And watching Notre Dame just, I don't want to say it was an annihilation, but I mean, they beat them. They handily beat them. So, like, I was wrong. Flatly, I was wrong. No excuses, right? Like, Notre Dame proved they were better than Georgia yesterday, and that's really all that matters. Notre Dame moving on now in the college football playoff. It's going to be Texas versus Ohio State and Notre Dame versus Penn State. And the matchups here are the 5th and 8th seed and the 6th and 7th seed in the college football playoff. I don't know if we can call that an upset, right? Because I don't feel like if you were told at the beginning of the season that these would be the teams that are ultimately in the final four of the college football playoff, that you'd be like, oh, there's no way. There's no way in hell. But here we are, right? Like 2 Big Ten teams, an SEC team, and Notre Dame. It feels like it's just always that way. Some version of that way. We're used to seeing 2 SEC teams along with a Big Ten team and Notre Dame, but this is what we get. This is how it always winds up, the haves and the have-nots. You can never put Notre Dame in the have-nots because they have an amazing alumni base. They have a ton of money for NIL. They're always going to be in the conversation. So for me, it's just another season, right? It's been fun. Some of the games have been fun. I think a handful of the games have been fun, but it's just right? There's nothing exciting about it. It was just And there's nothing wrong with that, I guess. Like, if that's your thing, you want it to be that way, then cool. But it's just there was no real excitement in this. But then I also, subscribe to the thinking of nobody wants to see Cinderella in the dance this late. Right? Like if it was a longer tournament and we got some upsets from like Arizona State and Boise State, I think that would have been fun. But no one would be paying attention if it was Boise State and Arizona State right now in the college football playoff. Like if they were in the semifinals of the college football playoff, no one would want that. So my chaos scenario is no more. Me hoping and wishing that Arizona State versus Penn State or Boise State would happen in the college football final. That's gone out the window. Now we actually have good football, and it makes me a little sad. I don't even know if we can call it good football, but it's football, right? But yesterday was one of those weird days, right? Like in the sports world, you get so used to what it is that you do. You get so used to your schedule. Like on Sunday, I know 11 o'clock in the morning here in El Paso, I'm going to be able to turn on. I have no idea what happened there. That was interesting. I just had an entire screen go blank on one of my screens over here. Tommy Constance saying, I don't care anymore. Once Oklahoma lost 3 games, can't do that if you want to play for the championship in college football. You can if you're Bama, right? Like you can if you have a sustained and consistent winning and constant championship appearances and things of that nature. You can. I firmly believe that, especially now with the 12-team playoff. It's going to happen. We will have 3 lost teams in the 12-team playoff. We will eventually have 4 lost teams in the 12-team playoff. All the issues that we've come across in the past with college football, as far as like ranking and everything like that goes, once that happens, it's just going to be the same story over and over and over and over, and you will never be able to placate the fans. You will never be able to satisfy them because everyone's going to say, well, this team should have been in. And this year it was Bama. This year it was Miami, right? Like there were so many hardened fan bases of those teams that were like, those teams should be in the college football playoff. Again, I honestly feel this way. The only way that you can crown, so to speak, a national champion in college football would be going with the NCAA tournament style. The 1 through 25, if you're not good enough to be in the top 25, you don't deserve to be there anyway, and you don't have a shot. But then that's going to lead to what we have with the NCAA tournament now of we went from 32 teams to 64 teams to now to 68 teams, and we do all these things with all that nonsense. And I just, it makes me miss the days of the BCS computers, which I never thought that I would say. Because I remember even back then thinking to myself, this is dumb. It's much better than it was in like the 80s where the writers, you know, like these dudes that just sit back, and I've been in press boxes, right? And I'm not going to like make it seem as though a press box is this glorified area to be in. Like it's not rarefied air. For me, it's a cool place because I get to see the game from a different angle. But I've been in these press boxes, and I guarantee you, when these guys go in there, they know what they want to write already. It's already the story of if the team wins, they were supposed to. If they lose, they weren't supposed to. So now we have to scapegoat somebody. And writers back in the 80s would be the ones that would determine who became the national champion. They never had a game against each other, and that's what helped create the BCS and all the stuff that we have now. But it just seems like whenever you put the human element into it, the same thing with, you know, umpires in Major League Baseball, the same thing we see in the NFL. Hell, I was watching that Texas-Arizona State game the other day. 2 targeting calls were missed. Going back to reviewing them, 2 targeting calls were missed. And I'm just sitting here thinking, all that is the human element. Well, I mean, he kind of hit him in the chest and head and neck area. He clotheslined him a little bit, but that's not targeting. Oh, he hit him directly in the side of the helmet with his helmet. That's not targeting. The rule book states that is targeting. But the human element is saying, no. We cannot do that. We can't eject this player at this moment in time. I always have the joke where I say, like, I'm comparable to Sheldon Cooper with the way that I am. And if you don't know who Sheldon Cooper is, Big Bang Theory, very logical, robotic type of individual, right? I am so much like that I'm sitting here thinking to myself as I talk about, yeah, we should just have the computers just tell us who the champion should be. Create the 2 best teams with the computers like they had in the past and have them play against each other. That's how it should come out. I feel like Sheldon Cooper with the whole, you know, if robots were to rise up, I'd be like, no. I support you, my robot overlord. I will do your evil bidding there, my robot overlord. Augustine Pimentel saying, it's incredible how much control referees have, and they get paid not that great. and calling me Sheldon without a PhD. Tommy Cananza going on to say that he hated the BCS. I get it. I totally get it. But we have to find a way, or hair. I wanted to do that filter on TikTok where it's like what you would look like with a perm, just to see if my beard would be flipped to the top of my head. I think I might do that filter just to see. I think it would be hilarious, right? But going back to Tommy Cananza talking about how he hated the BCS, like I totally understand it, and I get why people hated it back then too, right? Like it wasn't a great way or the perfect way to crown a champion. But if you look at what we had this year, where you have Indiana, and again, I'm going to go back to Indiana being the 10th seed. Indiana being the 10th seed, they had the 106th, 106 hardest schedule in college football. That's comparable to UTEP. They got fat off of beating bad teams, and when they played good teams in Notre Dame and Ohio State, they got rocked. A team with the 106th easiest schedule or 106th worst, most cupcake schedule of all time shouldn't be rewarded that way. You should be able to look at them and say, look, sure, you're good. Yes, you're in the Big Ten, but you didn't beat the Big Ten. We all know who the Big Ten teams are, right? The Ohio States, the Michigans, the Penn States, the Oregons. That's so weird to say Oregon in the Big Ten. But to see Indiana with the 106th strength of schedule be allowed into the college football playoff was an embarrassment. They didn't even win the Big Ten. And you can look at other team schedules. You can look at Bama and say, I would rather see Bama just because that's going to create chaos. You can see a scenario where Bama gets it together and possibly beats Notre Dame. There was never a doubt, not a single one, that Indiana was going to have the possibility of beating Notre Dame. There just wasn't. I always say the sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then. That day, there was an eclipse. There was no sun to shine on their ass. It was gone. As if the sun had blown up, Indiana had no shot. Augustine Pimentel saying college football is a perfect place to start promotion and relegation experiments in the USA. We spoke about that last week, and I've been saying it for a while. I firmly believe that should be the way that it goes, right? Like, and it should be broken down to conference. Each conference, the SEC should have a secondary conference. Like, I don't want to say Conference USA. I'll have to, mix and match all these things together. But each conference should have that conference that kind of plays around where they are too. The worst team in the SEC plays against the best team in, we'll just say, Conference USA. And we'll see who gets to move up, who gets to move down, all that good stuff. Tommy Cananza saying, yeah, I agree. I love a Cinderella story. I root for the underdogs, but they didn't belong there. And I think that's the thing too, right? Like, everybody's going to root for the underdog. Everybody wants to hear and wants to have that feel-good story. To me, that feel-good story was like your Boise State, right? Like, we saw what happened when Boise State finally played against real competition. When Cinderella got to the dance and had to show off that she actually knew how to move, she couldn't do it, right? You don't need to have a Cinderella story that deep into the playoffs, though. Again, we all love we love that first week of the NCAA tournament because anything can happen. Middle Tennessee State upsetting the great Michigan State, right? Like, Sparty goes down. We all love that type of stuff. But but we don't want to see Middle Tennessee State in the Sweet 16. And that's obvious from, again, the national championship 2 years ago, where it was FIU and Miami at the time and San Diego State and another, no-name team that winds up being in the Final Four. And nobody watched that game. It was all Cinderella's. Cinderella was going to win the national championship, but nobody watched that Final Four because it was all Cinderella's. Augustine saying the same with basketball. Indiana had UTEP's schedule. Tommy Carranza saying make it a top 12 teams and seed them accordingly. Exactly. Like I wouldn't have been, and I don't think anybody this year really would have been upset if Boise State wasn't in the college football playoff. If at 11 or 12 even, we had Alabama or Miami, right? I don't think anybody would have been upset with that. It would have been like, Boise State versus the other teams, not really a shot for Boise State, right? But if you had it seeded out the way that it should have been, yeah, it would have, in my opinion, it would have ran smoother. You probably would have had more opportunity for upsets. And I get it. We have a 5 versus 8 matchup and a 6 versus 7 matchup. And all the people out there are just going to look at the number that's right next to the name and not realize that Texas was the 3rd ranked team in the college, like in the final rankings of college football. Like I want to go back and look because I know Ohio State was like the 8th rank or the 6th ranked team. Penn State was the 5th ranked team. I think Notre Dame was the 7th ranked team. So you have 4 out of the top 7 in the Final Four of the of the college football playoff. So there isn't a Cinderella story here. There isn't the oh wow, I'm so surprised that these teams are there element that you would want coming out of a playoff scenario like what we just had. Tommy Cahansa saying if you bet money on Middle Tennessee State to win, you do, right? But that's the thing, right? Like most of the time, and I will say this as nice as I possibly can. If you're putting your hard-earned cash on Middle Tennessee State to win it all, to win the entirety of the national championship, you need to go get help. Like flatly, you've got to go out and get some help, man. Like you've got a gambling problem, a real bad gambling problem. If you're going to sit back and be like, you know what, I'll put a ton of money because you bet on underdogs, you put a lot of money on the underdog because you think you're going to get some money back. If you're going to put that type of money to try and get, not even be guaranteed to get, but try and get some sort of return on investment off of a basketball game and off of a middle of the road team winning a national championship, you're either one Biff from Back to the Future and you've got the almanac that tells you what's going on, or 2, you have a gambling problem and you really need to go seek help. What's the number? Like I hear the podcast, it's what, 1-800-GAMBLER? Call that number, seek some help. I place bets on Bovada.lv and I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh man, if I put $15 here, I have the possibility of winning $200. And then I look at what I've chosen, I'll be like, there's no way in hell I'm winning $200. Let me fix some of these things and just make little itty bitty picks here and there. And this year, I think I'll have to look at the spreadsheet, but my record's like 175 and 60 something. Well, like I've been doing pretty well this year, and I still would not put a heavy amount of money on any of my picks just because I'm terrified that the second I do that, all of my money is going to be gone. And I'm also the type of person that whenever I do these picks, I choose ties. Like if I will look at a team this past weekend, Tennessee versus Jacksonville, I'm looking at that game and I sit here and I say to myself, neither one of those teams deserves to win. I will write down that I want a tie, that my prediction is a tie, because that's just the way that I have thrown away so many picks off of tie, just because I don't think some of the teams deserve to win a game. And a lot of the times they don't. Tennessee, Jacksonville Jaguars, if you're a fan of those teams and you were watching that game, God love you. Because one, you're either, again, you have an addiction and you need to go get help, or two, you just really have nothing better to do in your life than watch 2, 3, and 12 teams battle it out for the bottom of the division. And at that point in time, I'm hoping my team loses. Like, if I'm a Tennessee Titans or a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, I am pissed off my team wins. It's kind of like with New York, right? The Giants getting the win over the Colts. They knocked the Colts out of the playoffs, but now you don't have your stranglehold on the number 1 overall pick. I thought they were going to go to number 2. They actually fell down to number 4 and a possibility of getting up to number 6. So for me, it's like, oh, wow, like that's a bad win. I never thought I would say something like that. Like, that's a bad win. But the New York Giants getting that win against the Colts, probably not necessary. Probably, again, you guys know my mindset. I think I said it on Monday or Tuesday, where it was the revelation of this dude's a psychopath. My mindset is, yeah, you cause as much pain to the other team as you possibly can, mentally, physically, emotionally. So, yes, knocking the Colts out of the playoffs, for me, would have just been, I would have been post-coital after the game. But then, like, I think we've all been there, right? Like you go to the bar whenever you're younger. Everyone else is hooking up with somebody. You're kind of left by yourself. You're just doing your own thing. 2:00 comes, the lights are about to kick on, and you got to think to yourself, got to do something. Instant regret whenever you, like, whenever you're done and you get that clarity, the post-nut clarity. Once that happens, you think to yourself, Jesus Christ, what have I become? That's kind of how I would have been following that Colts game of, hell yeah, we kicked their ass. They're out of the playoffs. Oh, no, we don't have the number 1 overall pick. Damn. Tommy got on to saying, the good old days. I am so full of, like, just weird-ass analogies that I kind of sit back and I think to myself, you're an idiot. But you know what? It's a fun time. And that's all that matters. It's an absolute fun time. But I completely lost my train of thought here, so I'll just move on to what my next subject was going to be. Thursday night without the NFL felt weird to me. And I don't even like the Thursday night games. Most of the time, they're just not good games. And I'm sitting back yesterday, and I'm not feeling that great. Like, I've got a bunch of, physical issues and things like that are going on, and I'm just in a tremendous amount of pain. And I'm like, you know what would make me feel better? Watching a shitty Thursday night football game. Want to give a shout out to Alicia Lorena Glover, who is tuned in right now. Thank you for tuning into the show. Thursday night football would have been my savior yesterday. And instead, I got nothing. Just a big glass of nothing. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I miss Thursday night football, which is a thought process I never thought I'd have. I think I've come on this show in the last 2 months that we've been doing the show together. Thank you all for being a part of the show over the last couple of months. And I have consistently railed against Thursday night football. Yes, there have been a handful of good games out there, which makes me look like an absolute idiot. But I was just like, man, Thursday night football made me realize how close we are to the end. And again, like going back to my thought process from earlier, right? Of your post-coital, and then you have regret. You're sitting there like, oh, God, this was amazing, covered in all kinds of shame glaze, buffalo wing sauce, ranch, beer, other bodily fluids, maybe, just depending on how gross of an individual you are. And then you think to yourself, damn, it's over. Now I got to clean up. That's how I feel with the Super Bowl, too. I'm so happy. This year I have to call it the big game. It's a big game year. So stupid the way they do this stuff. But that's how I feel about the big game. The bowl that is superior to the others. That's how I feel about that, right? Like it shows that it's the end of the season, and now I have nothing to show for it. My team didn't win a championship. I lost more hair. I gained more wrinkles. If I'm Augustine, I aged another 7,000 years. I'm looking mummified and petrified. Like, it's just not a great indicator of what might have been. And you're just kind of sitting back like, oh, okay. And Tommy Canazza, same thing, right? Same thing right here, saying Thursday night football is the realization that it's almost over. No more Thursday night, no more Monday night. And I feel like they just give us our drug, right? Like that's what they do. They give us our drug of the NFL, just mainlining the NFL from Christmas until, New Year's, or like that little window of time where it's the NFL on Wednesday, NFL on a Thursday, NFL on a Friday, on a Saturday, on a Sunday, on a Monday. And then you don't get anything until Saturday. And it's like, whoa, wait, guys, wait. You can't take it away from me. You've already given it to me in the veins. I've got to keep going. NFL, what are you doing to me, guy? Y'all got any more of them games? Like that's how it feels, man. All week long, I've just been like, man, when's the next NFL game gonna happen? And again, I like college football. I get to experience things with college football and with other sports in a way that a lot of people don't. So I realize how lucky and how blessed I am. But man, the whole time I'm just thinking to myself, okay, so the Cowboys play against the Commanders this week. It's the last week of the season, so everyone's going to be playing. That means we're going to have 16 games. Should be pretty good, right? Like, I can't wait till Thursday. Oh, no. I don't have a game on Thursday. And it sets in. This is the last game of the season for the Dallas Cowboys, mercifully. Thank God. I have zero hope and zero faith in this team that they'll be able to win this game, but at least they will play. And if they win, I get to be super annoying and saying, only a handful of teams win the last game of the year. It's either the team that wins the Super Bowl, everyone that makes the playoffs, other than the team that wins the Super Bowl, ends the season with a loss. So if you win the last regular season game, you're one of the few teams that actually won your last game. You're only as good as your last game. I am all about trying to find ways to make myself feel like my team was a winner, despite the fact that my team is the Dallas Cowboys. Tommy Cananza going on to say, it's worse once the Super Bowl is over. They give us a fix every couple of months with free agency, the draft, mini camps, then training camp before we do it all over again in September. That was I've always been of the mindset, Tommy, that the NFL is not just king in the United States, but like by far and away king of the United States. Like it's not even disputable, because we could be in the middle of an amazing NBA Finals game, of an amazing Major League Baseball season, of an amazing NHL Stanley Cup final game. And the second the NFL is like, this third string player is leaving this team and going to this team, we're all like, oh my God, that opens the door for this player to go this other place. And maybe they'll do this and that. And now what's that going to do with the draft? They're not going to go after a quarterback in the draft, because why would they go after a quarterback in the draft? Oh my God, I can't believe we get the NFL back. Like, that's exactly how we act when it comes down to like anything in the offseason with the NFL. And I remember during COVID, right? COVID happens. I have no sports to talk about. I'm on the radio and I'm just like, God, like, we got to find a way to navigate through all of this nonsense, right? We've got to find a way to entertain people, because I wasn't going to do what a lot of other stations were doing, where they just had nobody and it was just, let's play ESPN podcasts or whatever on a regular basis. And I remember thinking to myself, how's the NFL going to do it? Like, the NFL is all about doing this stuff in person, doing this and that. And then I hear Roger Goodell is going to host the draft from his basement. and they're going to have a virtual thing and it's like all these cool things the NFL is doing. And I sat back and I watched the entirety of that offseason from the NFL, and all they were doing to the other sports was just giving them a middle finger, proving time and time again, anytime we want to, we can take over your season. And that was a case study this year, right? This year, the NFL decided we're going to play a game on Christmas. Pissed off LeBron James. LeBron is like, no, Christmas is our day. We play on Christmas, not you guys. And Roger Goodell looked him straight in the face and said, what you going to do about it? Look at how many numbers we got. Look at how much numbers you got. Tommy Canonsa saying, I know, right? LOL, my Mavs were in the finals last year, and had there been a Cowboys game on one of those nights, I would have 100% watched the Cowboys preseason game. Exactly. The Yankees, for me, were in the World Series. I think it was like a Monday Night Football game going on the big TV, and on the small TV, I have the Yankees in the World Series. And I don't even think it was a Dallas Cowboys Monday Night Football game. Like, I'll have to go back and look at the schedule. It was just a Monday Night Football game. Because, again, we need our fix. Y'all got any more of them NFL games? That's how we are, right? I hope the UFL can make it, right? But my whole thing with the UFL is you're playing right after we got the highest high that the NFL could give us as NFL fans. Right after we got that highest high, you want to play in March? We're expecting what we got out of the Super Bowl. You haven't given us enough time to like miss you, right? Don't play until like May. Don't play until like June, right? We're really in the middle of missing football, where we've already had the draft and we're like, guys, did you see? Like, I was trying to talk myself into Zeke Elliott's going to come back to Dallas and be an MVP caliber player. I was talking myself into that in like May and June. Tommy Canonsa saying, I am a football junkie. They need to make a hotline for that. 1-800-football, right? Like, that would be it. 1-800-football. You'll talk to someone like me on the other line, and I'll be like, hey, are you a football junkie? What's the sickest thing you've done to watch football? I remember, like, driving, right? And for me, football's not a great radio game. Baseball is. Some basketball is. Like, college basketball really fits well for radio. Listening to football on the radio is a little tough for me because you want to see the hits. You want to see the quarterback scrambling, and it's so hard in their truncated time frames to be able to paint that picture with their words, right? Like, me talking right now lasted longer than most plays in the NFL do. But I'm sitting, in my car, and I'm listening to like AM radio as I'm driving across Texas, trying to find all the different AM radio stations that I can to listen to a football game. And this is like 2004-ish. I want to say it was like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs. I have no emotional tie to this game. I just need my fix for football as I'm driving on a Sunday. And what I did is I went and I researched. In 2004, it wasn't as easy as it is now. In 2004, what AM sports radio stations I would need to listen to from El Paso through New Mexico into Lubbock, Texas. So that way I can listen to the Steelers and the Browns. Again, no emotional tie there. It was just a football game. Tommy Canonsa, oh my goodness. Tommy Canonsa saying, my wife wanted a fall wedding. I talked her into a summer one because I told her fall Sundays belong to my Cowboys. Sorry, not sorry. I don't know if y'all remember this, and I apologize because I don't know when people started actually listening or wanting to hear any of the nonsense that comes out of my mouth. But a couple of years ago, I remember doing a bit, and it was the right before the NFL season started. And my whole bit there was, look, family members of football fans, you're going to lose the football fan in your life. And you cannot judge them for this. It doesn't matter if you're married. It doesn't matter if you're that person's child. It doesn't matter what the relationship is. They have loved, you're the sports fan in your life has loved this particular team longer than they've loved you. Even if you're a parent, they didn't realize they loved you until later on in life because they fell out of love with you as a teenager, because that's what teenagers do. What brought them through all the hard times and what helped create the hard times was their football team. The love they have for their football team will never fade. You can divorce them, you can disown them. They will never, ever lose that football team, no matter what that football team does to them. This message brought to you by a Dallas Cowboys fan. Like, come on. If there was ever a relationship that I should have bowed out of, it was the Dallas Cowboys. It is and continues to be the Dallas Cowboys. You can't, it's a different level of love, right? I love my kids. My kids make me so happy and so proud. And then I have the Dallas Cowboys who make me not happy and disappointed and ashamed. And somehow, some way, I have loved the Dallas Cowboys 20 years longer than I have loved my children. And that's not a slight on them. They're just 12 and 7. So, I'll watch a football game. Come join me. Partake in the pity that is the Dallas Cowboys. Please make me feel that you're also feeling this, so I'm not so alone. I really hate sometimes being a sports fan, especially like a Cowboys fan, because of that. But I'll never give up. Like I will, whenever I am dropped into the box or put into a chamber full of flames, whatever way I go, it's going to be with like a bunch of Dallas Cowboys stuff, because one, they deserve to burn with me or brought with me, with all the pain they've brought me. the handful of happy moments that they brought me, but all the pain and suffering they got me, they deserve to suffer in that box with me too. Oh man, what a day. All right, but that's enough about the Dallas Cowboys. I don't need to be talking about that loser ass team. They make me so damn mad. What I wanted to talk about was what seems to be the future of the NBA. And I say what seems to be because you can never guarantee these things, right? But as long as, and once again, it's a huge caveat, if Victor Wembanyama can stay healthy, holy shit, he is going to be, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best players in the NBA, and possibly one of, if not the best player in San Antonio Spurs history, which is saying a lot, because you have David Robinson, you have Tim Duncan, right? Like two of the greatest of all time. And I'm sitting back because I was looking at stuff today, and I thought to myself, this is an interesting article. And it was about Tim Duncan, or not Tim Duncan, Victor Wembanyama, and his first 100 games compared to LeBron James. And I understand, like, those types of mile markers don't really mean much, but it's a good foundation for what you can expect for the future, right? And whenever you look at, like, LeBron James's first 100 games, averaging 21.7 points, 6.1 assists, 5.7 rebounds, 1.8 steals, and 0.8 blocks. And you compare it to Victor Wembanyama's first 100 games, 22.6 points per game, 3.9 assists per game, 10.5 rebounds, 1.2 steals, and 3.7 blocks. And Tommy Cananza is already booing the San Antonio Spurs as the huge Dallas Mavericks fan that he is. I'll have to see how the Mavs are doing right now. But I look at those numbers and I see that he becomes the first player in the NBA to have a month where he has over 300 points, over 100 rebounds, over 50 assists, over 50 blocks, and over 40 3-pointers made. The only player in NBA history to do that, along with being the only player in NBA history to have 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 200 plus 3-pointers in his first 100 games. I say this whenever I see his highlights. It feels unfair. It feels like Victor Wembanyama shouldn't be allowed to play basketball. It feels like anytime you watch the San Antonio Spurs now, you're just trying to see what it is that Victor Wembanyama can do, right? It really just feels like, how is this guy going to get better? Because I feel like those numbers right now, if he plays like that for 10 years, he's a Hall of Famer. Like without a shadow of a doubt. Medusa Design saying, Tip, I made it today. Hi. Hey, what's up? What's going on with you? Trust me, I understand as a parent as well that it's so hard to break away from like wanting to hang out with your kids, especially whenever they're young. Like, I feel bad because Jinder's room is adjacent to this room. It's right across there, I think 10 feet away from where I am right now. And I know the bass in my voice resonates off the walls. So I have like, behind these little curtains that I have, and even like the black back there, I have those sound absorbers to help my voice from like reverberating throughout the house. The only thing I did today is I started the show so late because it was I didn't start the show late, but prep for the show so late because I couldn't wake up, because last night they didn't go to bed until 11 o'clock. And on vacations like this, I ain't forcing them to go to bed early. And I ain't, I'm still in the mode of, I love to tuck my kids into bed. I love being there whenever they go to bed, right? So for me, it was like, we're gonna hold on to this as long as possible. And I couldn't go to sleep last night, and I was in a ton of pain, and I wind up waking up about 7 or 8 times during the night, and I was exhausted today, man. And I see Jericho walk out of like the hallway because I have the door open right here, and instantly, good mood. Instant good mood. I'm thinking to myself, okay, how much longer do I have on the show? Okay, I got this much time. Then I'll go out there. We'll do some stuff to end the little vacation time. So trust me, I get if you don't have the time to watch this show while your kids are home, I am all about it. Just, like and share. That's all I care about. Please. Please. I keep forgetting that I'm not on Roku today. I keep looking over to see like the Roku message that they send me of like, hey, get back on topic. Try to talk about sports again. Sports. But I look at, again, Victor Wembanyama. I look at the San Antonio Spurs, and I look at the evolution of basketball, right? And I feel lucky enough to have seen the back end of like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the rise and dominance of Michael Jordan, the Kobe and Shaq years, the Dirk Nowitzki with the Dallas Mavericks years, which were phenomenal. Dirk Nowitzki doesn't get the love he deserves, right? Even Steve Nash, that time frame where Nash and Nowitzki were together, that was amazing basketball. The San Antonio Spurs, the 20 years of dominance the San Antonio Spurs had, the rise of LeBron James passing it over to Steph Curry as who could be possibly the best player in the NBA, and then LeBron taking it back because LeBron has played 9,000 years. And I see the way that the game has evolved, and I watch Victor Wembanyama, and I think to myself, that guy shouldn't be allowed to play basketball. It's so unfair. Like, it really is. Like, how do you guard a dude that's 7'5", that can body you in the paint, can handle the basketball, and can even knock back, step back 30-foot 3-pointers? Like it's mind blowing to me. And I wonder, because we saw the evolution of the game, right? We saw people come out that watched Magic Johnson and start playing and passing and doing all the stuff that Magic Johnson did. We saw people watch Larry Bird and start becoming really accurate from shooting threes, right? The same thing with Michael Jordan. We saw all these people get inspired by Michael Jordan, and now the game's like full of dudes that look like they could have been Jordan back in the day. Maybe not the sociopathic mindset that Michael Jordan had, but they were inspired by him. The same thing with like LeBron James, right? Like we will never see another LeBron James because you will never see an athlete. Never say never, right? But you will more than likely not ever see an athlete the size and speed and ability that LeBron James had. Like we are watching greatness with LeBron James. Just the same way I don't think that we'll see someone that can play basketball the way that Dirk Nowitzki did, or even the way that Luka Doncic does. Luka looks like he's basically a loaf of bread. A loaf of bread playing basketball, and he doesn't miss. And you always feel like whenever he puts a shot up, that it's going to go in. That's how it feels watching the string being known as Victor Wembanyama. The Spurs are garbage. The franchise, like the whole team built around him is garbage. And the guy's out here getting 50-point games, getting 10 block games, like doing all these amazing things. And I just can't wait to see, because you know the Spurs franchise is going to turn it around. But I can't wait to see what the San Antonio Spurs are able to do with that guy in the future. Like it's going to be so much fun to watch what it is that they're doing. Tommy Cananza laughing at the Luka Doncic is basically a loaf of bread playing basketball. Luka looks like he should be playing with a cigarette in his mouth. I look at Luka Doncic and I imagine that's how Babe Ruth was, right? Like if there wasn't as many cameras or, persona that you're supposed to put up while you're playing sports, I guarantee you Luka Doncic would be the guy like Babe Ruth with a cigar in his mouth, a whiskey in his hand, and just out there hitting bombs. Like that would be Luka. Luka is a modern day Babe Ruth, and I am all about it, man. Be fat, be happy, enjoy your life, Luka. Go do your thing, my guy. And then I look, the converse is Victor Wembanyama, and you see like all the stretching and the Pilates and the yoga and like all the stuff that he does to keep his body pliable, which is the word that they're using now. Him being like one of those TB12 guys, right? Like he studies the Tom Brady method of how can I keep my body in the best possible shape that it could be in. And I'm like, man, you see like the like I can't even say the parallels, but just the opposites of their careers. And Luka's great. Like don't get me wrong, Luka is phenomenal. I would love to have Luka Doncic in my franchise if I didn't have Victor Wembanyama, or even if I had both of them. Could you imagine how dominant your team would be if you had both of them? And then like the best player in the NBA right now, the best player that's been in the NBA for, I want to say a minimum of 5 years, is Nikola Jokic. I don't know how. He's always bleeding from his arm. It just seems like he's anemic or something. Like I don't know where the blood comes from. He doesn't get scratched. It just appears. He starts bleeding because maybe he's putting forth an effort. But Nikola Jokic looks like a beer league softball player. He looks like every single athlete you've seen back in the day that'll tell you, I could have gone pro, but I hurt my pinky. And now coach didn't put me in the game. And now I'm over here delivering newspapers or whatever the hell it is. Is there even newspaper delivery people? But that's who Nikola Jokic is, right? Again, another loaf of bread playing basketball. like what more can we do with that? My guy Will Heron saying, Tippy, what's going on, Will? My guy got nothing but love for you. I appreciate it. I got a handful of viewers today on YouTube. Tommy Cananza, how's it feel to not be so lonely? I really need to start putting out the YouTube channel more. I think that's going to be my goal for 2025 is let's get some more, I guess, subscribers and whatnot to the YouTube channel. So Will, this weekend I'm going to send you some messages. Maybe you can help me out with that. I know you've done some really cool things, as you are TV's Will Heron, former ABC7 El Paso weekend guy, weather update guy, sports guy, my guy. You know I got nothing but love for you, baby. Thank you, Will. I appreciate all that. Tommy Cananza saying, welcome. I imagine Tommy being the person who's been watching on YouTube the longest. Whenever he sees another person there, it's got to be like you're in the desert and you see like another person. You're like, oh my god, there is life on this planet. But I appreciate that. I appreciate the consistency, Tommy, of you staying on the YouTube channel, man. It makes my day that someone's actually out there watching the YouTube channel. And I'll go back and I'll look at like later on, I'll see how many views happened on the YouTube channel. It'll be like 13. Well, where the hell were the other 12 at? Only Tommy was there. So thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that. Will, thank you for joining on YouTube as well. Okay, everybody, we've been doing this for long enough. I got to go get breakfast. I can hear my stomach is already rumbling, and nobody nobody needs to hear my stomach growling. Tommy saying I'm talking to volleyball sometimes. I think what I'm going to do, I love doing like little Easter eggs and stuff like that because I'm just that's how I am. Like it's my nod to people like, hey, I appreciate you, right? I think what I'm going to do is find a replica of Wilson and put it somewhere behind here so that Tommy knows Wilson's there. he's talking to Wilson. And now, as long as you're only talking to him and not doing other things with Wilson, you'll be all right. You'll be okay. Don't let him float off into the middle of nowhere, Tommy. You hold on to Wilson as long as you possibly can. I had to get like a video of Tommy, like obviously green screen. I'm not going to leave you out in the middle of the ocean, but just Wilson, I'm sorry. Look at that. We've made friends. Tommy and Will over on the YouTube channel. All right, y'all. Once again, I appreciate you tuning into today's show. Remember, on Monday, we will be back on Roku as well via National Streaming Sports. We're brought to you by our friends over at RevAutoCarCare.com. That's RevAutoCarCare.com. Use the promo code Tipton33. Save up to 15% on all of your car care needs. And, of course, our friends over at www.myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton. They still have up to 40% off on the big package. Check out what they have so you can make sure your male grooming needs are met. You get your nuts as happy as my nuts with myhappynuts.com. We will see you all again on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. And go Cowboys, maybe? We'll see. We'll see. Probably not. It's going to be bad. They're going to lose the Commanders. I'm going to be sad. But that's what they invented beer for. Goodbye, everybody.